Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going over a review of the sequel to one of my favorite books of all time, and that is Starsight. Now this is going to be a really strange review for me because this is the first time I'm giving a good review to a book that I didn't like. Because although I did not like this book myself, I am impartial enough to know that this book is still a good book. In fact, it's a great book. It's like the old saying goes, just because you didn't like it doesn't mean it's bad. And just because it's bad doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. Also, spoilers ahead. You have been warned. This book, for me and my personal tastes, was a dramatic letdown. Especially if you watch my review of Skyward, I said that it was by far one of my favorite books that I've ever read. And I was expecting a lot more of the themes that I came to enjoy in Skyward. I was expecting those themes to transfer over into Starsight. Unfortunately, however, a lot of those themes that I really enjoyed did not transfer across to Starsight. And the second book is so different to the first book that it feels almost like it's a completely different series, or it feels like it is a different spin-off to Skyward. Starsight seemed to discard the struggles of Spencer and her character growth and the fantastic character work between her and those around her, and instead put an intense focus on the world building. And to this book's credit, and to the author's credit, the world that he built in this story was immaculate. It was incredible. It was very richly developed and very thoroughly fleshed out, from the Starsight space station to the alien races and all of their different political beliefs, and all the factions both on Starsights and on the lesser species planets. And he also had some pretty fantastic plot twists in this story. Like, for example, towards the end where she has to leave Mbot on Starsight and hyperjump to Detritus. My poor heart broke, and never in my life have I felt such a loss for an imaginary robotic companion. Not even Cortana. This was basically the Dobby scene from Harry Potter, and if you've read the Harry Potter books, you know how much more integral Dobby was to those stories and how much more frequently he appeared, and how much less annoying he was than he was in the movies. And when that scene happened where Dobby died, I just had to close my book and process those emotions. I felt the same thing when she had to leave Mbot behind. So anyway, if you are looking for an absolute masterclass in world building, or if you just love sci-fi alien races in general, and if you want to learn about alien races, how they behave, how they reproduce, their mannerisms, and their complex political systems that they come up with, you will really enjoy this book. He put a lot of time and effort and care into crafting this world, and it really shows because it is spectacular. Unfortunately for me and my own personal tastes, all of this time and effort and energy that was put into the fantastic world building detracted from the characters. In my opinion, he didn't really build on Spencer or her companions at all. And this is where the book let me down, because I loved Skyward for its intense character work. And feel free to disagree with me, but in my opinion, I feel as if all of the alien companions that Spencer was flying with, I felt as if they were all kind of two-dimensional cutout characters. And for example, I want to talk about Moriamur, the arguably most interesting and most fleshed out character that Spencer interacted with. His whole story was that basically he was from a race of aliens that didn't enjoy violence or conflict, but he wanted to become a fighter pilot. There was a lot of detail about his race, about his people as a whole, the Dione people in general, but there wasn't that much about who he was as a person. Like, it felt like his whole story arc was just worrying if he was going to be born or not. And then there was Hisho and the Kitsen. Again, there was a lot of information about their race and their home planet and who their people was, but there wasn't really that much information about Hisho himself or his little ferret companions. It got to the point where even when Hisho died, I didn't really feel anything about that. Like I said, I felt a lot more grief when Spencer left Mbot behind, and Mbot was just a robot. So I really should have felt something more when Hisho died, but I didn't really feel anything because I didn't feel as if I knew the character. I felt like I knew the race, but not the character himself. The point I'm really trying to get at here is, if you loved Skyward for its intense character work, you should still read Starsight because it is a fantastic book. But just go into it expecting the book to be completely different. There's so much more world building, it's a completely different setting, and there is a hell of a lot less character work. And guys, if you are new to my channel, I'm all about books, whether it be reading them, writing them, or reviewing them. So if you love books, please subscribe to the channel. I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers and I'd really appreciate your subscription. Please like this video and comment down below if you've read Skyward, if you've read Starsight, what you thought of the difference between the books, if you enjoyed Starsight, because if you go on Goodreads, the current Goodreads rating is about 4.5 stars, and there's a lot of reviews on it. Anyway, please subscribe to the channel. So let's go over a brief recap of what happens in this book. The book starts off with Spencer being reckless during dogfights because she's trying to get a better grip and a better understanding of her powers. And she thinks that the trick to unlocking her powers is to almost die, because in the first book she unlocks her powers by almost dying when the Lifebuster bomb is about to hit. And now that I'm saying that out loud, I've just made a little mental connection between Spencer almost dying and unlocking the secrets of using her powers, and at the end of this book when Bray is just about to die and unlocks the secret to her powers to bring a Delver into their world. Hey, I see what you did there. Very interesting. Anyways, the fight seems to be going on as usual. The humans have the upper hand now that they know that they are fighting drones. The humans are slowly reclaiming the surface and they're slowly reclaiming the outer shell. But everything changes once the Superiority rocks up with a big battleship, and they're planning on bombarding the world and killing everyone. Spencer unintentionally calls to another Cytonic, named Alanique. Alanique is shot down after she gets through the defensive shield, and tells Spencer about Starsight and how to get there. Spencer makes a split-second decision after discussing it with her love interest, and I put that in quotations because this book had a really great opportunity to do the enemies to lover trope, but the way that that love was super rushed felt cheap and unearned. Spencer then brain teleports herself to the coordinates that Alanique gave her, and she ends up out the side of Starsight. Mbot gives her a special bracelet that will make her look like Alanique, and disguises himself as Alanique's ship. And this is where the book's strength really shines. This is where the world building comes into it. When you get your first look at Starsight, you get to learn about all the different aliens, how they act, how they look, their mannerisms, how they reproduce, their complex social hierarchy, about the lesser species and the superiority, and how the superiority has kept control of the galaxy by hiding the secrets to hyperjump. Spencer joins this secret Air Force mission to learn how to fight Delvers, which are basically living Death Stars that swallow up planets. Spencer then spends most of her time trying to figure out the secret to hyperjumping while also learning how to fight Delvers. She learns that the secret to hyperjumping is the slugs. The very same slug that Doomslug is. Which honestly I was not expecting at all. I was really expecting there to be caged up humans. So the reveal got me. Did it get you? Did you predict that the slugs were going to be the secret to hyperjumping? Or did it catch you by surprise? Let me know in the comments down below. Spencer then reveals herself and is betrayed by another human, and everyone is chasing after her and trying to kill her. She jumps back to detritus, and there is a big space battle going on while another human, Bray, is trying to summon the Delver to their world. Bray is successful in summoning the Delver just before she is about to die, and Spencer convinces the Delver to leave detritus and instead go to Starsight. Outside of Starsight, Spencer explains to the Delvers that the things that they are killing are actually people. The Delver is not a being that is destructive in nature, and it feels horror at the fact that it is going around killing all these people. So it disappears back into the nowhere. The Krell, or the Crab People, have now started a coup to try and take over the Superiority, and in the process they need to kill Spencer. And the book ends with Spencer jumping into the nowhere through a portal with Doomslug and Mbot. So to really sum up, this book was so in-depth in its world building. It was basically a masterclass in world building, alien race invention, and alien politics. So although I didn't enjoy this book, or it wasn't my personal tastes, I will still read the next book when it comes out. And I will still recommend this book to any one of my friends that enjoys sci-fi. But compare that to my review of Skyward, where I said that I would recommend the book to anyone that would listen to me. because of how great the character work was. There really isn't much else I can say about this book. The world building was phenomenal, the action sequence were incredible, but the characters were really what suffered this time around. I'm hoping that this book was just the necessary middle book, the book that sets up all of the world building and plot threads for the rest of the series, because most series have a book like that, so I'm hoping in this next one it returns back to this strong character work that this author is capable of doing. And again, that's just my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me, leave your comments down below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you very much.